Well, we've got someone on the line who can tell us how big that result was for the Falcons. Gary Graham joins us. How are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good, mate.
Gary, well, we'll let you answer that question on the weekend's win against Northampton, and we can work out the Scottish twang like I have, or whether it's the Northern English. So, mate, just onto that game. Biggest win of the season for you guys? I know there was a couple of big wins in Europe, but in context of the season?
Probably, yeah. Obviously, it was not the prettiest game by a long shot, but we needed it. And obviously, with Sale and Bass result on the Sunday, that leaves us in with a bit of chance of obviously trying to kick on and seeing where it goes.
And obviously, you know, everyone's talking about we're going back into Europe this weekend, and Newcastle are 2 from 2 in that. But the Premiership is, you can't lie where the table is at the minute. And I don't know what the record is, but whoever seems to be bottom at Christmas and generally gets relegated. Is there any chat about that in the squad at the minute in terms of Premiership form and where it's at? Because it is so tight between you boys down in 12th all the way up to 5th, isn't it?
Yeah, I know. No, we've not spoke anything about relegation. We never thought we were going to be in this place. Obviously, there's no bones about it. We've underperformed since the start of the season. We had obviously a tough start run and got a bit of momentum back with the Europeans. Lost it again when we went to Harlequins and Sale. But we've got a firm belief that we can definitely do it. Obviously, we ground that win out against Northampton, got the big game against Edinburgh, and then we're just going to try and get some wins and take some momentum into it.
And on the Champions Cup, obviously the final being at St James's Park. We saw the game last season, how much it meant to you boys and the whole of Newcastle. But has that been spoken about in the squad? Has Dino mentioned it at all?
The final?
Well, obviously the final is going to be big for any team, but that kind of added emotion, the fact that it's going to be at St James's Park.
Oh, he's not mentioned anything. No, I don't think Dean gets too far ahead of himself. It goes week on week as it does with most teams. We never look further than a week ahead, so we've got a few changes in this week against Edinburgh. We'll see where that leaves us, and then obviously look on to the week after that.
So we'll come back to the Edinburgh game in a minute, because that's obviously going to be pretty big for you. Now, I can't quite work this out, because one week you're English, next week you're Scottish.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, Gary.
You sound English now. Your dad's a proud Scotsman. I played against him years ago. Like, what is it this week? You English? You Scottish? What's happening?
Mate, I'm Scottish.
Till he dies. Scottish till he dies. Mate, just talk us about that whole situation, because your dad coached me. He was a great coach, one of my first coaches, international level, and he is Scotland till he dies. Now, talk to us about this whole scenario. You know, we all know about you playing Scotland age group, probably a similar story to Zach Mercer in terms of you didn't kick on from there. So tell us how the land lay and how it lies now.
Well, obviously the backstory to it was, I played Scotland 20s, played majority of my youth rugby up at Gala. And obviously never got picked on to any of the Edinburgh Glasgow teams, and then got a shot at Jersey, which is obviously as far south in England as you can possibly get. Went there, played a few games, done all right. Then Dino picked us up, and mate, I never, in my wildest dreams, thought I would ever be. Never even thought about playing for England. Never wanted to. And then they came in at that Christmas time and said, obviously, they wanted me to go and train, and the dollar bills lit up in my eyes.
There we go. The dad wanted a new house in Carlisle, didn't he?
Well, that's what he said. I'll be getting a Range Rover after your first packet. So I was like, yes, spot on. No, but that was it. The match bonus for that game would have been what I was getting paid for that entire year. I would have been mental to not even contemplate it. And at that time, Scotland hadn't spoken to us, so obviously I went in. There was all the kickoffs because I'd done a piece with the Times, and that was blown massively out of proportion. It was, as you said, the most proud Scotsman, and me, his prodigal son, in the living room with him and just chatting rugby, and basically I was just rinsing him and he was rinsing me, but all my stuff got printed and all his stuff didn't, so it looks really bad on the eye. I know that. I've read them back a few times. I got them sent to us. But that's all it was. I'd always wanted to play for Scotland. I am Scottish. Maybe don't sound it, but I am. I was born there, bred there, and that's where we are now.
With a Geordie accent as well, so definitely English. But I work in foreign exchange, so it's not dollar bills, mate. It's pound sterling. Just
Yeah,
to let you know.
pound sterling, yeah.
25k
sorry.
game England. So you actually are quoted as saying, "I'd fucking love to play against Scotland next week, make 1,000
Yeah.
tackles and shove it in their face." Were you just talking about your old man at that point, or what? Was that just like lounge banter?
We were looking each other dead in the eye, and he was calling me in English.
Yeah.
Can we swear on this?
Yeah, you can say what you want, mate.
English cunt and all this and the rest of it. And I was obviously saying stuff back, and that's all it was. But obviously, looking back now, mine looks fucking way worse than his. So, and I was obviously the one in the mix of it all. It was the worst of it was when I was on. Obviously, I went up to the Scotland camp, and it had just been released that morning, and then my phone went off like a fucking firework. It was going mental with people just slagging us. Some boy said he was going to tan a pound coin off my head if I ever lined up in the Scotland singing the national anthem. So it was quite decent banter, to be fair. But
Mate, you can laugh it off, can't you?
I couldn't give a rat's, to be honest.
Yeah,
but it
good
was
stuff.
my anxiety was going through the roof meeting the boys because I didn't know how they were going to take it. But to be fair, they were spot on. They're good lads, and I think if you look across every international team on the planet, there's a lot of foreigners in it, and so for people to be pissed off because of such, well, I mean, small thing in my mind, but maybe not in someone else's, then it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is. And mate, you're dead right. A lot of those Scots guys would like to play for England as well.
they wouldn't, no,
I'm
mate.
joking. One question for me then? Obviously, you were in the squad in the Six Nations last year. Has Eddie been in contact with you since the end of that? Did he get in contact with you at all during the autumn, even after they sort of said that you're going to go and play for Scotland? Was there any of that at all?
Yeah. He said he spoke to us at the start of the season. Just obviously said like things to work on and stuff, and then spoke to me at the start of the autumns and said, "Look, you're on standby," and that was all he said really. And then obviously I called him up and I said, "Look, mate, I'm just giving you a courtesy call because I'm going to go and try and play for Scotland." And he said, "No, mate, I'm glad. You never know what's going to happen with England, but good luck in everything you do." And I said, "Oh, mate, I really appreciate that. Appreciate the offer you've given us. Obviously, nothing might have ever happened if he hadn't spoke to us in the first place. So I've got nothing but praises for the man."
Did he say anything to you in a hallway during England camp? I'd heard something. There was a rumour that he walked past you or something and didn't know your name or didn't know who you were.
Yeah. So obviously, I got there, tail between my legs, not really knowing what was going on. I hadn't played that long in the Prem, and I caught eyes with him, and I thought, "Fucking hell, I better go and introduce myself." So I walked over, hand out, and he went, "Paul, it's Paul, right? I thought you'd be bigger." I was like, "Nah, it's Gary." Sorry.
Oh no!
Who did you think you were?
Was he joking or not?
Oh, well, I don't even think there's fucking been a Paul in the team, so I hope he was joking.
The only one I could think of was Paul Hill.
Yeah, well,
He's a big lad.
But Gary's got a beard. He looks nothing like him.
Oh, who knows, mate? But just onto your dad. Like, he is a Scottish legend. Obviously, played for Newcastle as well. Like, how is it now, following in his footsteps? Like, do you watch him much? Obviously, when you were a kid. Like, does that play any part? Because he is an emotional man, isn't he?
He is very emotional. He was absolutely buzzing. Obviously, I got the call to go up to the Scotland squad, and I said, "Oh, Dad, I've had the call. Obviously, don't tell anyone it's going to get released." And he was on his way out to the pub at the time, and literally within about 3 minutes, everyone from the pub was texting to say congratulations and whatever else. So he's absolutely buzzing, to be fair. And if I was to do anything close to what he did, then yeah, that'll be class. But I'm struggling to get my first one yet.
Well, mate, he'll forgive you for not getting a Range Rover. He'll be happy with a Nissan Qashqai now, mate. That's for sure. So.
And let's just
Reliant
go,
Robin.
Yeah, something like that. Let's just go look forward to this weekend's game. Obviously away in Edinburgh on Friday night, I believe it is.
I was meant to be commentating on that, but then they've got Sam Warburton now because I think it's the game of the week. So
dear.
I got moved out, mate. Otherwise, I would have talked you up.
For you guys, obviously 2 from 2 in the competition so far. Massive win at home against Montpellier last minute, and obviously the week before against Toulon. It's now in your hands, isn't it? Edinburgh got absolutely tonked over at Munster on Friday as well. So you must be going to that with confidence, especially after the victory down at Saints on Saturday.
Yeah, we've definitely got confidence. I don't think the team that played Munster will probably be the team that will play this weekend. I think they might have rested a few of their big guns, maybe for this, maybe not. I'm not sure. But we're definitely confident. We've obviously shown that we can compete with some of the best in the game, obviously Montpellier and Toulon. So I don't see why we can't go down there and take a scalp.
All right, Graham, thank you very much for your time, mate. Best of luck for the rest of the season, and go well with Scotland as well, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, Gary.
Cheers,
Thanks,
fella.
mate.
Cheers to that.
Can we just say, what a top lad, but can we just say, you just called him Graham.
Called him Graham.
Oh, what did I say?
You said, thanks, Graham.
He meant,
Oh,
Mr. He
shit.
meant Mr. Graham.
Yeah, I meant
Mr. Graham.
You're a shambles, Andy Rowe.
He went Mr. He meant
yeah.
Mr. He meant Mr. Graham.
Mate, how good's that,
Graham.
though? How good's that?